Well, don't everybody look so excited.
Yeah, you do this. You're about being online as a personality, so yeah, you're giving more hype to them. All right, but are we all good? We all have the mics and everything? Stay hydrated.
Hello?
All right, yeah, so as Sean said, this is 128-bit personality. It's about being online as a person in the games industry, what that means, how to sort of take advantage of that for your own success, and just understanding how it's changing and how it's all compounded by being a person of color. I'm Jordan Miner. I'm the senior editor of Geek.com, which is a website where we write about technology, comics, games, how Reggie Fils-Aimé is the best black Nintendo character, how that's now confirmed. And also, we do a lot of streaming. That's an important part of being like a games media person is like, streaming the latest stuff and just like that, engaging the audience in that way. But that's just on the media side. And what I love about this panel that we have here is that you all represent a really wide swath of what it means to be online as a games person and how to succeed in that. So, just introduce yourselves.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I am Sheila Moore. I go more importantly by the moniker to Purple Sharpie. Most people call me Sharpie. I'm a big event streamer for fighting game events. Most people know what EVO is, but we also do events like NEC, Otaku, Combo Breaker, events like that. So whenever you go to a tournament and you are able to watch the stream on Twitch, I'm a part of teams that help run stuff like that. I also organize a bunch of local events for fighting game tournaments as well.
Hi everyone, I'm Mona. I am a policy specialist at YouTube. Probably the most hated department by all of you guys because we do remove a ton of videos. But we do work with creators to make sure that we do have a platform that helps promote your content and keeps a lot of content up. Previously, before YouTube, I was a PR specialist at Warner Brothers Games, so working on AAA games and working on mobile games. So marketing our games to social media and promoting it at conventions. And then before that, I was at IGN writing for news and had my YouTube channel. So a little bit all over the place, but I'm excited to be here.
I'm Tyreek Plummer, aka 4-Bit Friday. I am a game developer. I'm making a game called Catacomb Kids, which has been in development for longer than I would like to admit. I do dev streams every week, twice a week, and I have for the past 2 or 3 years. It's been a while. And I also have a Patreon that I recently started to fund my other creative endeavors, of which there are many.
Hi everyone, I'm TJ Hughes. I'm a game developer from St. Louis, Missouri. Shout out Midwest. I am making an experimental food art game right now called Noor. That's upstairs, actually, that you can go out and play after this panel. And that game was successfully funded on Kickstarter. And I also do game development live streams on Twitch.com. Sometimes I will upload to my YouTube channel. So like I'm kind of creatively all over the place. But that is my thing that ties me to games is that project.
Cool. So y'all kind of got into this in your introductions, but yeah, since the topic is about being online and how to use that, I guess could you go into like how you've used the internet and sort of different platforms to sort of further your own success? Because I think we're gonna get a lot of different kind of answers from everyone here. So whoever wants to hop on first.
So I definitely want to start. I have a lot to say about this. As everybody knows, Twitch is super overloaded and saturated with content right now. I actually joined relatively early back in 2013, 2012, back when they first started moving from Justin TV to Twitch. And so when I joined there, the highest streams usually had a couple of hundred, maybe like 2,000 people on them. In order to start, there are a lot of things that you have to do. You really have to separate your content from somebody else's. And doing that, you can use a lot of tactics, things that people in television typically used before. But the key thing is to really just bring what makes you into your television channel, which is what I'm going to call Twitch from now on, because let's just face it, it is television.
Twitch.tv.
Exactly. Yeah. It's really about controlling the narrative of who you are in a focused space. And that's, I think, the best way to think about it. It's your own television channel. It's people turning to Sharpie's channel. And so if you're able to think of it like that, and you really boil yourself down to a couple of characteristics and you bring that into a television show, people are going to feel more at home with who you are as a person. It doesn't mean taking away from yourself. It means really understanding who you are at your core. On Twitter, you should be doing the exact same thing. You should really try to make every single tweet, this is me in my own essence. And that's what I try to convey in both Twitter and my Twitch streams. For event streams, obviously, you want to boil it down to what the event is, but I digress. It's the same type of concept. Who you are as a person, who you are about, and what you really care about should always come across in every single platform that you use. And that's the most important thing to remember about social media. Oh, man.
She said it really well.
Yeah, I mean, any kind of I guess challenges anyone here has faced sort of with using like social media and newer online platforms sort of for themselves.
Getting seen is the main challenge. That's basically what holds anyone back from like being huge with social media. Is yeah, that's the question that I always get. Like, how do you get seen? How do you get out there? And it can either be a really slow process that you build up just over years, or it can just all happen instantly, like within a few hours. Like I remember I did an interview with Polygon once, and I just remember seeing the numbers after that interview came out, just like 3,000 followers in like 10 minutes. And so it's really interesting how just one thing can really be what puts you on the map. Or you can try at it for years and get like 100 followers. Like for a lot of people, like that's huge, and really any amount of followers is like pretty amazing. And so I think that's the main struggle for everyone, is just getting out there, getting seen, especially like as a person of color when we're not the ones who are really all the time, like in the top spots in the industry.
Now, does anyone here think that their path into the games industry would have even happened, or would have just been so different if these sort of like platforms didn't exist?
I definitely agree. I don't think I would be here if I didn't have social media. I started on Twitter and YouTube, just sharing vlogs, streams, video games, like anything I was obsessed with, and just sharing my brand. I was just like an over-caffeinated person who loved playing games, and I always was like, coffee, Red Bull, Call of Duty, and just, screaming out into the internet. And that helped me kind of just build my personality and brand. So whenever I went to conventions, people did recognize me as the over-caffeinated person. So kind of like networking in a way. So Twitter played a very pivotal role for me. Landing a gig at IGN wouldn't have happened if I didn't have Twitter. I met them through Twitter and then met them in person. And when I was applying, I reached out to the person that I met. So without having Twitter or YouTube for me, I think I would not be in this position that I'm in.
Same. I was actually going to say it's interesting the way you were talking about is meeting other professionals and that sort of thing. I mean, I do have the sort of public-facing sort of image that I try to present in persona and that sort of thing, but it's also important to me, and the most value I get out of social media is usually with compatriots in the industry and other indie devs and that sort of thing, and just because it would be really easy for me to just be a hermit. I'm not a very outgoing person, physically, I don't go out much. So it would be really easy for me to just hole up, but the idea that I can have a space online where I can go and connect very meaningfully with a lot of other people who are creatives and making things and that sort of thing, that helped get me where I am, I think, because it's sort of a mutual thing. It's we help each other and prop each other up, and that's, I think, a very important aspect of it as well, in addition to so it's interesting having to try and balance that aspect also with the persona of being an internet person, and trying to get followers, but also being hey, I'm a professional, and I don't know, it's kind of an interesting balancing act, I think.
Yeah, that's actually my next question. So, a lot of us have touched on here, being online is presenting like a version of yourself, and I think a lot of social media these days values like trying to make that version of you like as authentic, like as close to authentic feeling as possible. Like part of the reason I'm doing this is so people can like see who I am. Like some of you already followed me on Twitter already, so thanks. And like building brands that are based on us as real people, but not quite the same thing. So where do you all kind of see what like how do you balance that? I guess is what I'm asking.
As someone who's really, really big into like the competitive scene, I think especially as a woman in the competitive scene, it's really important that I showcase that I am really empathetic in general in a space where empathy is sometimes seen as weakness. Especially in competitive gaming, the more that you care about the experience that your opponent or someone else or what they're going through, the less of a top player you're seen as. Especially online, on a lot of avenues like Twitter, the more that you're seen as open and caring, people tend to think that you are weak. And I always try to showcase how much I care about other people, especially online, and just reaching out and touching out to every single person. But I think, oh my God, this is so embarrassing. I actually forgot the question in the middle of talking about Can you guys believe that?
It's about it's like balancing you as yourself versus your online stuff.
Thank you.
And that's what I also too about like personal safety too with that kind of like transparency.
That's essentially what I'm trying to say, is really understanding that you can still be empathetic and caring even if you're not 100% like that online for your own safety, which I understand that someone at the very last talk, the thing that really stood out with me is I think Sean actually said, take care of yourself and your own mental well-being. And that's super important on social media. If there are things, sometimes you'll be really misdirected by numbers, and that's all they are, is numbers. If you just think of it as people enjoy my content and people love me, even if not everybody does, certain people do and they really care about me, that's so much better in general than just trying to go exclusively for numbers. The more that you try to think, I just want to be able to touch out someone and help them understand that what they're going through is okay, then you shouldn't even really be worried about anything beyond that, if that makes sense. So go for what your ideals as a person is, as opposed to just going for numbers, I guess is what I'm trying to say. That's the best way to balance it, is just really remember your goals. Keep your goals in mind 100% of the time when you're in social media, is what I'm trying to say here.
Yeah, I really got to agree with that. Because the numbers can really like kind of get to your head, even like subconsciously. Because I remember just as my like follower account was going up, like when I first started on Twitter, it was just me, so I was just like, okay, I kind of felt like I could do anything, like I could kind of just say anything, because it was just my personal account. It was just my personal Twitter. But like as I noticed like certain people that I really respect, like who would follow me back, I would just kind of edit myself and like kind of hold back things I said to where I like noticed to a point where I would post less often, and like I wouldn't even notice it, but I was just like, I haven't posted in a while, and I think it's just subconsciously like I was mentally thinking to myself, like, oh hey, like this important people is following you, like certain really high profile people are following you now, like tone down the memes or something, like post more like professional stuff, like don't really like be yourself. But then I kind of like realized that, and like I asked myself like, okay, what are my goals? Like, am I trying to be a brand? Am I trying to be this like fake figure that doesn't actually exist? Or am I trying to be me? Am I trying to be my personal brand? Like, yeah, is like how much is this account a reflection of myself? And so I kind of just like looked at myself, and I found a way to make it work, to make it be me, and also just make it like presentable, I guess. So yeah, it really depends on like what your goals are with I guess how you act online.
For you, TJ and Tyreek, also, because you're not just selling yourself, like you're selling yourselves in tandem with the game that you're trying to convince people on too.
Right, exactly. Yeah, you have to sell your product as well, and so it's really hard to seem genuine online while you're also trying to make money and make a living. Because like, yeah, sure, I'll like joke about something, but I'm also like, hey guys, also can you please buy this? Like, I need that money to live.
Yeah, I mean, same. Yeah, I mean. yeah, like we're almost like kind of trapped by trying to like our online selves have to be put out there. I'm jealous of my girlfriend who's here. Like she gets to have her Twitter locked because it's not depending on what she does. So, but I can never do that.
Real quick, can I add one
Sure.
thing? Obviously, it's super important that you're yourself and that you're really your essence of person. But I do want to point out there, obviously, there are tactics that you can use to get numbers. I think everybody knows that. Memes are the #1 essence of like what the internet is about. Okay, just by a quick show of hands here, how many people understand what the term big mood means and have used it in some capacity online?
I mean, I just said it a few seconds ago.
That's what I'm saying. So like everybody knows that there's certain things as humans we all relate with. And that's really what I've been trying to push, and I think everyone else on this panel has been trying to push this whole time. There are ways of expressing yourself in a human aspect that everybody can understand. And especially when you're a person of color, there are aspects that everybody gets. The last woman was talking about clapbacks, and I just wanted to like sit there and listen to her for 10 hours, you know? So like there are certain aspects as people, especially as people of color, as a black woman that I experience that other black women experience that aren't always talked about. And that's what you should be doing with your platform. Understanding, hey, who am I as a person? What's really important to me? And how can I bring that to everybody in a public platform so that we are more together as people, especially in super divisive times like this. I'm just going to be real. So sorry, that's all I wanted to add.
Perfect. A great segue. So also, as people of color, we are subjected to types of toxicity that people just aren't going to see on these kinds of platforms. And these platforms are not these just things that came out of the ether. Like, they're things that are made by people that people have influence over. So what kind of responsibility do the platform holders have for mitigating that kind of stuff? And like, how can they actually execute on any of that? I guess, Mona, can we start with you?
I definitely believe that big platforms have a huge responsibility in making sure that diversity is shown and is protected and is not surrounded by a ton of toxicity. For diversity to keep continuing to grow, I do believe that these platforms should staff like at their HQ a diverse group. So when you have diversity representing all of these other cultures and ethnicities, the product will succeed. The product will then also showcase other ethnicities and cultures there. For example, like the, what is it called? The hijab emoji on Apple was huge for me because I'm Middle Eastern and I'm like, oh my God, like I'm actually being represented, and it's like in a different light than what my culture is usually represented in. So being at YouTube and being a Middle Eastern woman too, and doing my best to protect this platform and remove any toxicity is a huge duty, and is what has kept me there instead of going to other departments, is just protecting minorities and people of color and just having a safe platform. And it also starts with one person. So if you have one person on your team who has these great ideas, always like latch onto it, because at times they are scared. They don't know if this will be something that their managers will like or this big corporation would like. But as time is going, we do see a lot of companies staffing diverse people and diverse groups of people to make sure that their products are including them. Because these platforms are, there's like millions and billions of people logging in on YouTube or Twitter or Instagram or Snapchat, and coming across ads that either have like African Americans or Middle Easterns or Asian ethnicities. Like, seeing your representation means a lot, and it means that like, hey, it's important for me to be here and it's important to exist. So it's very important to have that on there.
I love all of that.
You should too, as a streamer, like there's a community kind of building aspect to that too. So how do you do that in terms of while keeping it like not awful, I guess?
So I represent a lot of the fighting game community, and I know a lot of people here may not know what the fighting game community is. It's like Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Injustice. I specifically play Skullgirls, but I want to say somewhere in the ballpark of like 90% of the people in that community are people of color. It's overwhelmingly African American, Hispanic, Asian descent, and other people. It's like you don't usually have Caucasian.
Yeah, I've always kind of appreciated about that. Even if it's always kind of skewed to, like too dude heavy, like that aspect, I've always kind of appreciated.
That's what frustrates me the most in general about the FGC is I don't see too many other women in general. I actually co-founded a group called Combo Queens, which everyone can check out right now, www.comboqueens.com.
Brand building. That's what we're about being online. Yeah.
It's a super cool group. I was brought on with another woman, Emily, after Carolyn Mama Dow founded it. But the reason I love it so much is because it creates an area where other women inside the FGC can come together and be like, we're not the only ones that are here, and just showing people that you're not the only one there is huge. That's huge, because if even one little girl comes there and says, oh my God, look at all of these other strong women here just coming and playing games and enjoying themselves, and then grows up to be another strong woman that starts an even bigger organization and starts an even bigger collective group and is able to start a narrative that talks more about just having representation in general in gaming, that's huge. To answer, obviously, the original question about competitive gaming and where representation is
about keeping the community
about keeping the community, visible. What you really, really want to do, and this is gonna sound so blasé, but you just really want to, once again, boil it down to 3 basic concepts. What am I about? What do I represent? And what is my end goal? And the FGC in general is just about growth, representation, and having a good time. And if you're able to do all 3 of those things, then there's no reason why you can't just enjoy yourself. Like that's really that's really all that representation in the FGC comes down to. It's overwhelmingly just about everyone there has had a story, and it's all the same story. It's a story of struggle and hardship. And if you're really just able to capture that in one simple blurb, why not?
So we've been talking a lot about streaming mostly as a sort of kind of premier modern just social media way of talking about games. As someone in the media, my view of streaming is very much about it's like a pseudo journalism thing, like talking about games from that aspect, or it's like entertainment in of itself. It's like when streamers are playing a game, it's transformative work. Like them playing it is the product you're coming for. But TJ and Tyreek, as game developers, I want to ask your views on streaming and how to use it from that angle versus the media, or streamers.
I tend to use streaming as a way to connect with the actual community of that are fans of the game that I'm making and that sort of thing, and also I try to use it as an opportunity to not only show them what I'm working on and get their feedback and that sort of thing, which is extremely useful, but also to and also this is the case on the other sort of social media that I use in relation to the game, and like the Discord channel and Twitter and stuff like that. I try to in the way that I moderate those places, just by setting an example of what I expect, and I'm a super chill, calm dude, and nothing really ruffles my feathers very much. But if somebody does do something off, that's just unacceptable, I'm just no tolerance, And so I think that tends, and I don't have the numbers or whatever. I couldn't tell you to what degree this actually impacts the community, but just having that presence of just be hey, let's all just come, watch me code for a few hours, listen to some good music, have fun. And and then that sort of, I feel, trickles down and becomes sort of hey, everybody here is chill, everybody's cool, not to be a dick, that sort of thing.
Being a dick's not is good. Being not being a dick is good.
Yeah.
Whoops.
So yeah, it's just having that the ability to present myself as myself, and in real time have those interactions with people, and just have a good time and have that connection where people can stay up to date on what I'm doing and that sort of thing, so they don't think I've died for 6 months at a time, that sort of thing.
Yeah, streaming's just a really good way for people to just see what you're up to, and to really connect with your audience, because I know some people are just oh man, my stream isn't doing well. Some people get thousands of viewers each stream, but the other the last time I was streaming, there were 24 people in the chat, and when I think about it, that seems such a small number in comparison to actual big streamers out there, but that's a classroom full of people, and it's just really cool to be able to connect with that many people instantaneously, just for free, for just basically having a computer and an internet connection. And so I think it's just such a valuable tool, a valuable resource for getting your game out there and just connecting with an audience. During my streams, I do a little bit of I do like game development streams. So and I try to also teach. I try to also explain what's going on to anyone who's checking out the stream. And so I intend for it to be this connect with people thing. Maybe you can come from it learning something, and it's just a really cool community too that of just awesome people. Once again, I also try to keep it just really nice, really kind. I haven't had any incidents so far with dicks, as we were saying. Right. But that's a really lucky thing to have, to just have really nice people, to just share things, to just connect over games.
I think that's one of the benefits of having. I mean, I know everybody like we were saying earlier is oh, the numbers is so entrancing to be just watch them go up. Oh, I got to get more numbers. But one of the benefits of having a small community like that is that you actually can connect on a human level, because the chat isn't moving so fast, because that it's just and unreadable. It's oh, there's 20 people in chat and they're all talking and having conversations, and for me specifically, they're regulars, and you get to know the regulars and that sort of thing. It's oh, hey, how's that thing you did last week? Oh, how'd your trip go? And that sort of thing. And it's you get to sort of interact with people in a way that doesn't feel like you're having to put on a mask or fake anything. It's just hey, we're people just chilling, making games, and having a good time.
To be honest, though, I'd prefer that type of growth and reach a lot more than having a ton of numbers, because that small community that you have ends up growing, and it ends up growing with word of mouth. So it's hey, I watch his stream and I love his stream. He does he has this great content. You should watch it. Then they watch it. Then their friends watch it, and then that's how it grows. So it doesn't really. It's better than growing overnight, because then it won't be a community that at times that is super welcoming. It could have it could be negative at times. So having a smaller community that organically grows is a lot better, because they will always come back to you, and they'll always reach out to questions and make sure you're doing well, and always support you in new adventures or new paths that you end up going in.
Right. I think that's important as well, is that with smaller communities that you're more deeply connected with, those people will more readily translate to any other endeavors you may have. Whereas oh, if you have 1,000 people and you start a new thing, how many of the if you have 2,000 people, how many of those people will actually end up transferring to this new endeavor that you have? But if you have a small dedicated group of people that you're familiar with on a more intimate basis, it's hey, I'm starting this new thing. I know you guys are going to be good for it, It's come along with me on this fun ride, on this journey, and that I think that's a lot more valuable to me, at least, personally.
Yeah, they care. They're not just saying, "Hey, perform." They actually care about what you're doing and you as a person.
Right.
Now, the two you both ran Kickstarters, yeah?
Yes.
So was there, I guess, kind of worry about seeing your social capital so bluntly quantified in a dollar amount,
Yes, definitely. I made it a huge point. I was just how do you ask people for money, genuinely, for this project that you promise you're going to release, and also not seem like you're just selling out, or you're just trying to capitalize off of, trying to capitalize off of yourself. And so it's hard to seem personable while trying to sell a product. It's really difficult. And I think my kind of way around it was just really presenting it as myself. And I kind of took to being personable over professional, which you can kind of use your judgment to which one you're gonna lean towards. But I really like having a sort of homegrown type of vibe to my works. So the Kickstarter video, I edit it myself. It's music by people I know and that are helping me with the game. I'm doing all the narration in the video. all the graphics and like all the text and everything. Like I completely wrote that up. Like anytime I can make a joke, I will just like kind of put it in there. Mostly because I think I just know my audience and I know that they'll respond to things like that. I'm not just being 100% solid businessman. Like, oh yeah, here's my product. Here are the different features. Like, it's like I'm actually saying like, hey, I'm making this cool creative thing. If you're really about it, like you can support me here. And yeah, it's all me really.
I agree with that. It seems to me the best, like Kickstarter is like when you run a Kickstarter or any kind of like crowdfunding thing, you're essentially starting a relationship with all these people who you hope will give you money, and you want to start any kind of relationship with honesty and genuineness. You can't like just present like a front of like, yes, me, Mr. Professional Businessman. You know, you have to be. Yeah, it helps a lot to be more like, hey, here's who I am, and be honest. Like, hey, I kind of need some money. It's like, can you help me out? Get this, I'm gonna try and make a cool thing, as cool as I can, but I'm gonna need some help doing it. And if you're willing to be along for the ride, then let's make something cool together. And just being genuine. And then again, like if you're genuine, then the hope is that people will be genuine back with you, and then you can turn that into a more dedicated kind of community of chill people, I guess.
Cool. So about the internet, the thing about the internet, like any kind of technology, it's changing. It's always just changing faster and faster. So while we all like to at least think that we know what these platforms are like now, how do we maybe see them changing in the future, and how we kind of prepare to adapt to that? I guess Mona, from the YouTube side of things, like any insight into that, like how this is all changing.
How the platform is changing, evolving. I think like on our end, it's always like just keeping track of what is happening. How are the communities shifting? How are communities forming? What tools do they need that we can provide to help them reach their full potential and either sell their products, grow their communities, or grow their brand. Currently, I think we're trying to jump in the streaming scene, YouTube gaming and YouTube streaming. We're trying to do that, but there are other communities that are also Twitch and Mixer that are doing great, and that we're also trying to work with them to get them to use our product and also work together. But just listening to the community and getting any feedback that they have that we can incorporate and make sure that they're happy, because if we're making a platform that the creators and content creators are not happy about and they're not happy using, it is kind of counterproductive. They're not happy, our product won't work, and the main reason why we have this product is for people to create their brand and be successful in whatever they would love to be successful in. So just listening and incorporating a lot of feedback from communities is super important, super pivotal for bigger, larger platforms.
Sheila, what about you? About how do you try anticipate what the next thing's going to be, or changing?
Oh, 100%.
Okay.
That's everything that I do. I'm super pattern oriented, in everything. So in general, I think as people, as humans, we always try to gravitate towards patterns and trends. And I think social media is the epicenter of that. That's all it is just trends of information. Whenever a platform changes, actually the most important change just happened about 3 days ago. If anyone has Android, you may have noticed that the Twitter application just changed the way that they actually use their interface. And I'm almost positive 75% of people that use it are pissed at it. They completely changed the way that you actually search for information, and the algorithm's been changed, but they changed the way that you search information. And we noticed it immediately because of how often we use it. Now, I usually get more upset than others because it changes the way that I do business.
Right, you're extremely online. You're very logged on.
The entire time there was a last conversation, I was just up there on a computer, just typing and tweeting in real time. Oh man, this is a great picture. Bro, that's a fantastic caption. I love that. I think I tweeted 3 times on 4 different platforms just during that last conversation. But I think that what you really have to remember is that these are large businesses. They are large corporations. While they do have actual people in the community working for them, at the end of the day, they're going to do what works. And what will always work will be the path of least resistance, right? And so as humans, we just move along with whatever that path of least resistance is. As an example, Twitter recently changed their algorithm to promote tweets that people you follow or people that you follow that have a lot of followers like. Likes are now more important than retweets. No one cares if your retweet has 75 if your tweet has 75 retweets, how many likes does it have and who liked it? That's super important. So really understanding why they changed it to that. They changed it to that because they realized that people were just faving things that they actually cared about and people were retweeting things just because they asked for retweets. That's probably the case. I don't work at Twitter. I don't know. But the reality is, that's just the way it is now. And that's what we have to deal with as a person. And what it really comes down to is how much do you care about your community that you're willing to change with the times and just use that algorithm in a way that still represents you. If I see that someone is more active at a certain point in time and they're more likely to like something that I have because I know that it's something that they also enjoy, I'll post it then. I'll probably post it at noon when I see that person A is active and they have a bigger following than person B who consistently likes everything and Twitter just ignores them because they like everything. So moving along with trends I think is really, really important, but moving along with trends that affect you and once again what you're about is beyond imperative. I hope that answers the question.
No, it did. Yeah, about just having to think strategically like that is just huge. So this is a small question, but we all have different perspectives on the games industry and how to use these platforms. But is there any, I guess, advice you would give to people looking to get in whether it's media or streaming or development about how to use these platforms? Like, what would be the most, I guess, universal advice? Again, it's easy.
Can we start like from the end? Because I feel like I've been talking too much.
So just like tips
and tricks, yeah, life hacks.
Don't say any slurs on public media platforms.
Can we just get a universal clap? That's, for some reason, the fact that we even have to say that is honestly ridiculous. It's insane. Just don't say
like at
words.
this point, it's like who's next? Like who's gonna?
I mean, they already got Papa John, so yeah.
Yeah, was that real?
Yeah, he's not. Yeah, because he was caught saying.
At a PR
like,
place where he was learning
food
not to
brands,
say that.
Yeah, sorry.
Even food like chains are trying to like take over social media and brand themselves, and then get into like too much trouble because their PR person just gets like a little too cocky with it, and then just goes off the rails. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Just like try to be genuine, try to be nice, try to be considerate of people who might be watching. Like even if like you don't know if someone's in your audience, just like be considerate of anyone who might be watching and like how your words will affect them, even if they are or not. So I think that's huge. Like that, if you just have like common courtesy, I don't think that would be something that you would even need to like change your behavior to achieve. But yeah, that's just something that should be said.
I agree, and we'll say something relatively similar, I guess, is that you should be aware of the power that you have as someone presenting to an audience and the power that words can have over people, which of course ties back into like don't like say anything that would be harmful or hurtful and that sort of thing, but also just the idea that like I don't know, like people are coming to you and watching you, and like the fact that's the case like gives you an amount of power, just like having an audience. And I think a lot of people, especially like it seems to me like a lot of people with these extremely large audiences don't really acknowledge that power that they have. They're just kind of like, oh yeah, it's me, I'm being silly.
I just had a heated gaming moment.
Yeah. What's that?
I had a heated gaming moment. That was PewDiePie's excuse.
Heated gaming moment, right? Yeah, sure. But you have to be aware of yourself and your audience, and be aware of the fact that you do have this platform that people watch and listen to, and whatever the media may be, read, and just like language and words and the way you use them have a lot of power.
I personally would think too, like, going off of what everyone has said, just be yourself, be your brand. People can really like feel if you're being fake or not. So just do what you do, create content that you like creating, something that's authentic, that's organic, and just be yourself, yeah.
So I know I've been saying be yourself a lot, but I'm actually going to change it up a little bit, and I'm just going to say be consistent. This doesn't mean that obviously as a person we all grow and we all change and we move along with like our age and we learn more and we progress. But really what being consistent means is that if at day one you have been stressing the fact that you like red and you love the color red, the very next day do not make a tweet that says I love the color blue and anyone who likes the color red is wrong.
Friendship ended with red. Blue is my favorite color.
Exactly. Don't do that. There's certain components that make you you. Don't lose who that is. That's really, I think, it's just another way of saying be yourself. Don't lose your essence. Don't lose what makes Sharpie Sharpie. No matter how much you learn, no matter how much you change, you just find out who you are more as a person, and really bringing that to the table while still remaining active and still remaining in touch and open with everybody is super important in general. And also, if you're streaming, just don't be racist. It's very, very simple.
You think?
Don't do it.
You think it'd be simple, but okay. I think how are we doing on time? Can we do questions? 10 minutes? Can we do questions? Are the mics set up for that? 5 minutes? Okay, that's maybe a little too short.
If anybody says a meme to me, I will respond with a very mean look, so don't do it.
I guess we only have like 5 minutes left. I guess we should plug our stuff. That's what it's about being about, like online, like is putting ourselves out there. So, you guys have stuff to plug or?
100% yes. So like I said, you guys can follow me online on Twitter. The Purple Sharpie, it's right up there on this cute, beautiful presentation you made. But you can also check me out, more importantly, on my website, which is www.sharpiepls, otherwise it's known as Sharpie. Please give more microphone time to everybody else because you're talking too much. So you can type that in right now. I absolutely update that with everything, and it's where all of my controlled information is, but I do have Facebook, Instagram, and everything like that. But most of the time, if you just Google the Purple Sharpie, you'll find all my information because patterns.
I agree. I'm Mona Ayad at Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, the same, but mostly on Twitter. So if you have questions or you're looking for memes or coffee choices, video game recommendations, anything you want in life, like my Twitter. Right.
I'm 4-Bit Friday online everywhere. I'm 4-Bit Friday on Twitter. 4-Bit Friday on Twitch. I have started a Patreon recently. It's not me making games, it's me making music, which is a thing I do now, I guess.
You're also making the game that's on your shirt, right?
Yeah, this is the game. This is Catacomb Kids, which is ckgame.net, and there's a bunch of stuff I should probably be plugging. Yeah, Catacomb Kids, currently available on Steam and itch.io in early access. Also, it's out there, like right through those doors if you want to come say hi and play it. I think that's it. Cool.
Great words. Great words.
I'm on Twitter. Twitter's up there. I'm not even going to try to say it has the weird underscore in it. Anyway, yeah, Twitter, my website is terrifyingjellyfish.com. That's where I dump all of my art. So you'll see works in progress as well as like finished things there. Link to all my games, including Noor, where you can find the Kickstarter on there. The campaign is over, but you can still see like updates and just what I'm up to with that game. And my Instagram also is at terrifyingjellyfish. That needs some love. My Twitter's doing fine. So if anything, I would prefer you follow that.
And I'm Jordan W. Miner on Twitter. You see me tweet about games and left-wing politics and cartoons I made up. And I'm seeing it at geek.com, which is the best name for a website that none of you are probably reading. So check that out. We do a lot of streams, write a lot of cool stuff. But thank you so much for being on here. I think this was really cool. I think we got a lot of cool, some cool insights. So, and thank you so much for coming out to watch. So.